From now on, this car belongs to me and her." Despite being caught cheating, husband Andy spoke with pride. It was utterly baffling to see him like that. How could he be so cheerful, act so superior towards me? It felt like we were living in completely different worlds. But if he's happy to take the car, I couldn't be happier. The monthly loan is $3,000, though. He'll figure something out. Okay, I wonder if he's okay with the $3,000 loan. When I accepted Andy's request with a nod, he started smiling in a way I had never seen before. "My name is Samantha. I'm 38 and work at a design company. I thought I was living a happy life without any particular worries in my job or personal life. But occasionally, I find myself pondering one thing. When will I ever get married? At nearly 40, I don't even have a boyfriend, let alone married. My dating experience is limited. Before I knew it, all my friends were married, leaving me feeling left behind. There were times I thought about giving up on marriage, but seeing my friends happy made me dream about it again. My life changed significantly one day after work. Feeling good, I decided to go for a drink alone at a pub. Entering a bar, I noticed, I ordered some drinks and appetizers. While waiting and looking at my phone, I noticed a man approaching me. "Lady, are you alone?" A man came over and peered at my face. This was the beginning of my encounter with Andy, who would later become my husband. "Well, yes, I'm alone." "Really? Then let's drink together. Shall we?" Without waiting for my response, he sat down in front of me and tilted his glass. "Wait a minute." "Come on, it'll be just for a bit." "Just for a bit, then." With that thought, I accepted him. But I didn't have the energy to talk to anyone else at that day. As I looked down, he started talking on his own. Eventually, we exchanged numbers and parted ways. I thought our relationship was over, but 2 months after we first met, I and Andy had become close, meeting frequently. As we exchanged contacts, I found myself gradually drawn to him. Talking to him, my feelings would calm without notice. I sincerely wanted to talk more. When he said he wanted to see me, I genuinely felt happy. Surprisingly, I never imagined I could harbor such feelings, leaving me astonished. And then, about 6 months after we first met, we became a couple. After 3 years of dating, we got married. I never thought I could get married, so when he proposed, it felt like a dream. But I realized it was the peak of happiness only after everything ended. After marriage, he changed drastically. It made me wonder if his personality during our dating was a lie. About a month into our life together, he suddenly became distant. No matter what I asked, whether he would be late coming home, or what he wanted for dinner, he would just respond with, yeah. A disinterested reply. "Hey, what's wrong lately? You seem down. Leave me alone. It's none of your business." I wondered if he had come to dislike me. Seeing his attitude worsen day by day, my anxiety grew. Still, I was happy he came home. He would eat the dinner I made, and we still shared a bedroom. Somewhere in my mind, I believed he still had feelings for me. Maybe his current cold and harsh attitude was because he was tired. That's what I thought. However, a month into our diverging lives, the reasons of overtime and drinking parties made he come home late increasingly, and I found myself spending more time alone at home. I wasn't alone from morning to evening due to work, but coming home to no one was indescribably empty. "Alone again today." Looking at his messages, he said he had overtime again today. I was still thankful for the messages, but the increase in overtime and drinking parties right after getting married bothered me. Maybe I did something wrong. Disillusioned, perhaps he intentionally started avoiding coming home. I quietly placed the shopping bag down as I received a message from him. Gradually, he stopped coming home daily. We rented the slightly expensive rental property to start our new life together. Since he stopped coming home, it had become a place where I spent my time alone, feeling lonely. We were supposed to be married, so why did it come to this? As I thought about him, I continued to eat dinner alone. Andy, when he occasionally came home, was always in a bad mood. "Dinner's ready, you'll eat, right? I'll start making it now." I prepared dinner as usual and served it to him. However, after tasting a bite of the side dish, he stopped eating. "What's wrong? Not hungry?" "I've thought this before, but the food you make is really terrible." I was stunned by the words said to me for the first time. Until now, he had said it was delicious and had seconds many times. He used to say that he wanted to eat my dishes rather than fine dining restaurants, even a special day like an anniversary. But why suddenly? Sorry. I didn't know it was bad. I'll clean it up." "Don't touch it." He glared at me sharply and started eating again. But he didn't look like he was enjoying it, his face always crumpled. He started to complain about the cleaning and laundry I did. The coffee cups weren't aligned, a picture hanging was tilted. Even a single hair on the floor was enough for him to complain. I work too, so some imperfections should be expected. I began to wonder if it's normal to fuss over such minor things. Of course, I've mentioned several times that I can't do housework perfectly because of work. But he wouldn't budge. In the end, it always concluded, "Just shut up and do as I say." With him yelling. Sigh. The stress piled up each time I interacted with him. I started to doubt whether marrying him was the right decision. Various emotions swirled, and I even considered divorce. But the fact that I got married at this age, and thinking about the hassle of divorce proceedings, I couldn't bring myself to act. I thought I just had to endure it. Such thoughts had developed over time. But before we got married, I made a significant purchase. It was a luxury car from a well-known brand. Of course, I couldn't pay in full, so I took out a loan. I wasn't particularly into cars, but there was one model I had always dreamed of. I was happy to have it as an adult, and it motivated me at work. I drove it to work and received compliments from car-loving colleagues. Initially, Andy praised the car. "That's amazing. Good for you." That's what he said. But as his attitude changed, he began using the car without asking. It was inconvenient because I needed the car for work and shopping. It would have been acceptable if he didn't have a car, but he did. Yet, he preferred mine, which bothered me. Because of this, I had to use the bus for work and walk for shopping. I've addressed this issue with him. "Hey, could you stop using my car without asking? I need it too." "Come on, it doesn't matter." "It does matter to me." "Well, I don't care about you. You're managing with the bus, right? That's fine. I have reasons to use a car. Don't butt in." "Even though you have your own car?" "Your car is better. Just let me do it." He never listened and would end the conversation unilaterally. The bus fare added up, and walking home from the bus stop was exhausting after a long day at work. Shopping became more frequent since I couldn't carry heavy bags without the car, going from once a week to every other day. I considered borrowing his car. I asked, knowing it was a long shot. "That car is mine. There's no way you could handle it. Keep your jokes to a limit." I thought having two cars was unnecessary, but held back from saying anything to avoid angering him. But I couldn't just use it without permission. Slight change in the car's parking spot, seat, or steering wheel position would surely infuriate him. That's how he is, so it would be troublesome either way. If I were younger, I might have argued. But I no longer have the energy for that. Andy continued to not come home. He claimed he wasn't drinking because he was driving, but I noticed the scent of a perfume I didn't recognize. It wasn't long before I started suspecting he was having an affair. I had a hunch since the increase in his overtime and drinking outings. But I had neither solid evidence nor the money to hire a detective. I silently acknowledged his infidelity. He probably thinks I'm too dumb to notice his infidelity, believing he can do whatever because I'll just go along with anything. That must be what he's thinking. The marriage I had imagined was far too different from reality. I dreamed of a warmer, kinder relationship where we cared for each other, going on little trips on weekends, enjoying tourist spots. I dreamed of such a family. I thought I could achieve that with Andy, but it was impossible. It feels like this will be my life forever. I sighed and began preparing dinner for one. But then, one day, something happened that changed everything. It was on a day I came home late from overtime. I usually let Andy know when I'll be working late. I did that day too, but I finished earlier than expected and came home. No reply from him. Probably, he wouldn't be home again today. Feeling down, I walked home, but something was different when I arrived. My car was there. Usually, he used to use my car, so only his car was supposed to be parked. It was unusual. Thinking this, I went to enter the house. But then I saw it. The car was slightly shaking. I should have just been inside the house, but I approached the car out of curiosity. I could hear voices inside. Andy and a woman's voice. I moved closer to hear the conversation. "Do you love me, Belle?" "Yes. I do." The woman's name seemed to be Belle. Listening in, I heard a conversation I had expected but wished not to hear. "I want to divorce soon. I want to marry Belle. I'm happy. How have things been with your wife lately?" "We don't talk. I don't want to. Why did I even marry her? I'm always with Belle, so there's no real conversation, right?" "That makes sense." I felt ridiculed. My heart ached, and I felt indescribably sad. I didn't want to hear any more. I quietly stood up and was about to enter the house when my bag hit the car and made a noise. Too late, I realized my mistake. Andy peeked out from the driver's seat, seeing me. "Ah. You. Why are you here?" You let your wife hear this. This is the worst." Andy got out and confronted me. "You said you had overtime today, right? Why are you back so early? Overtime means later, right? Did you lie to me?" "I didn't lie. I really had overtime. But it seems like, whenever I say I have overtime, you do this?" I hoped he would falter at my accusation, but having been caught with Belle, he seemed resigned. "Yeah. So what? Is it so bad?" "It is bad. We're married, you know. What you're doing is cheating. And, how dare you use my car to see another woman?" "So what? I'm using it now." Andy showed no remorse. Then he said something astonishing. "This car is now ours." I was speechless. My saying my car probably prompted his bold statement. But then, something inside me broke. I'd gladly hand over the car, including its loan. "Okay, the loan is $3,000 a month though, hope that's okay." I was paying a $3,000 monthly loan. It was a bit of a stretch, but I thought I could manage with my current income. Paying the loan for the car which he was using seemed absurd. "But you'll have to pay the loan." "What? Why? You keep paying it." "Why don't you want to pay? Can't afford it? With your own car and rent, you can't, can you?" Provoking him, he became even angrier. "What do you mean I can't afford it?" "Fine, I'll pay." He was probably underestimating the amount because I had been paying it. Later, I transferred the loan and ownership of the car to Andy. During the loan process, I was handed a document detailing the loan by the agent, but there was no particular surprise at the amount mentioned. Whether Andy could really afford the $3,000 or had not thoroughly reviewed the document was unclear. He seemed solely focused on finishing the procedure quickly. After the procedure was completed, the process moved on to divorce. This time, due to infidelity, I hired the lawyer and chose a collaborative divorce. I told the lawyer about submitting the dashcam footage from the day the affair was discovered, seeking divorce and compensation. The lawyer gladly took on the case, and after weeks of preparation, The day to settle things with Andy finally arrived. Andy was visibly angry, and Belle was sitting next to him, looking defiant. Despite being told multiple times that hiring a lawyer was overkill, I couldn't disagree more. As the discussion progressed, it was revealed how they met and who Belle was in the first place. Apparently, she is the daughter of an executive at the company where Andy works. She also worked in the same company, same department, and they were acquainted. Of course, Andy knew she was the executive's daughter when they became involved. While he was at fault for initiating, she, knowing he was married and still engaging, was also to blame. I demanded a divorce and compensation from Andy. He said, perhaps out of stubbornness. Compensation. Divorce. Do as you like. I can pay whatever compensation you want. However, Belle seemed desperate not to have Andy pay the compensation. If you pays the compensation, it'll reduce the money I can spend. What a way of thinking. It seemed she was planning to marry Andy after our divorce. Are you okay with your family and company finding out about this? Huh? Do whatever you want. Belle must think my words are merely a threat. Well, if she says to do as I please, then so be it. Since Andy and I both intended to divorce, it was finalized that day. Andy agreed to pay the compensation, and we dissolved the marriage. Of course, Andy and Belle's relationship was later exposed to her company. After the divorce, I moved to a house near my workplace and continued to live comfortably. No need to accommodate anyone. No need to worry about the car loan. What a wonderful life. I wonder if I could have continued this lifestyle if I hadn't been married. I must admit, I've regretted it at times. Perhaps because I now have more financial freedom, coworkers have mentioned that I look healthier. I plan to live quietly on my own, with the compensation and my income. I won't marry again. From now on, I will live a life of my own. That's what I've decided. However, about 3 months after the divorce, suddenly, I received a call from Andy. What could he possibly want now? Though I found it annoying, I answered the phone. Hello, yes? Hey! It's not hello! What's going on? What's this about a red envelope? A red envelope? Perhaps it was a reminder or a demand notice. Calm down. What do you want? Like I said, what's this about the red envelope? When I opened it, it said I need to pay for the car loan. And, wait, were you paying $3,000 a month? I didn't know about that. Not know? I should have mentioned the amount when we transferred the loan and ownership. It's strange you didn't know. What? You didn't look at the amount because I was paying it effortlessly? You can't expect me to have thought it was $3,000. Hey! Can't you change it back so you're paying it now? Such a convenient man. After all, Andy would be the one using the car, even if I paid for it. And now that we're divorced, I shouldn't have to listen to him. It's impossible. Remember, you were the one who started saying the car was yours in the first place? Do you really think you can come now and demand I pay for the car, expecting it to be that easy? Don't say that. We were married, right? Even though we're divorced, we were in love, weren't we? Can't you help me out when I'm in trouble? In love. Help out in trouble. What is he talking about? I understand we were married, hence in love. But I've been through a lot because of Andy. And now, asking for help just because he's in trouble is too convenient. You. After living however you wanted, coming to me, now a stranger since we're divorced, for help is too convenient, isn't it? Now that the reminder has arrived, you better figure out how to pay it soon. Figure it out. That's impossible. No, don't start with that now. You were the one who said you'd pay my car loan in a fit of bravado, remember? Maybe you should learn to take responsibility for your words? That's that. Hey! Andy was making a fuss on the other end, but I had nothing more to say to him. I hung up without a second thought, ignoring him. The phone rang about 10 more times after that, but of course, I didn't answer. After leaving my phone aside, he seemed to give up as it eventually stopped ringing, with no further calls thereafter. Half a year later, I was still living comfortably by myself. Thanks to moving closer to work, the commute was incredibly easy. Having more personal time and finding a new hobby of going to art galleries was a joy. On such a pleasant day off, relaxing on the sofa, my mobile phone rang. Looking at the caller ID, Andy's name was displayed. Why was he calling again, I wondered. Tentatively, I answered the phone, and he began speaking in a tone as if his previous bravado was a lie. Samantha. It's me. Andy. What's going on? Despite his apparent weakness, I couldn't coddle him. I asked what he wanted with a tone of detachment. The compensation. I can't pay it anymore. Please, give me a break. Excuse me? Give you a break? His plea irritated me, but I was curious about what had happened, so I listened. Apparently, he had been hiding it out of pride, but after our divorce, he had to leave his job. The reason was his indecent act with Belle, the executive's daughter. It seems he was pushed to resign voluntarily for disrupting the company's order. Belle had dumped him as well. Even though he tried to find a new job, he struggled, surviving on part-time jobs. However, that kind of life didn't last long. Now he has sold both cars and moved out of his rental, returning to his parents' home. He probably thought this would make his life a bit easier. However, a few weeks after moving back home, his mother's health deteriorated, requiring care. With his father being elderly, Andy had no choice but to take on the caregiving duties while also working. Moreover, just because he sold the cars doesn't mean he's free from paying for them. The luxury car loans, the compensation to me. Andy is evidently struggling. Come on, please. I'm begging you. Heck, I'd even consider getting back together if it'd make things easier for you. What do you say? Where exactly would I find it easier? Without much thought, getting back with Andy now would mean taking on the responsibilities of his parents' care, the loan payments, and other living expenses. He would likely quit his job and leave all the housework to me, as before. Life was hard enough when we were together. Jumping back into an even more difficult situation is unthinkable. I've said something similar before, but you truly only think about yourself. You probably just want to live in my house and have an easy life, right? That's not it. I can't believe that. Do you have any idea how much trouble you've caused me? Caring for parents is tough, you say? Forced to quit your job? Dumped by your girlfriend? All of that wouldn't have happened if you hadn't cheated, right? Andy fell silent. But I continued to press him. I wonder why I ever married someone like you. I'd be angry with my past self if I could. Don't marry Andy, you won't be happy, and you're still talking about getting back together? That's a bit crazy. If you were truly remorseful, such words wouldn't come to you. So, I expect you to continue paying the compensation. That's... Please. Begging someone you once looked down on must be humiliating. No matter how much you beg, I won't listen. So, don't contact me ever again. Hey! Samantha! I hung up the phone. After that, Andy seemed to have given up, as I received no further contact from him. No messages, nothing. The desperation was clear from that call, but listening to his condescending tone, I wondered if he still thought he wasn't at fault, pondering why this was happening to him. Well, the compensation has continued to be deposited after that last call, so he must be managing somehow. Half a year after Andy's last attempt to contact me, I continue to live a comfortable life on my own. I've kept up with my new hobby of visiting art museums. My room is now filled with art books and postcards purchased from museum shops. Lately, I've been thinking about visiting art museums abroad. There's a lot I ponder about married life, and even if I were to be reborn, I doubt I'd want to marry. Honestly, I see no good in getting married. For now, I'm just thankful for this comfortable life I can enjoy on my own.